Howdy, it's Jim Arado, and this is May 2022, and we're at the old state capitol in Springfield, Illinois, and I'm going to just do a quick run through, and let's just see what's here. It's a cool little building, and as far as state capitals go, and again, there's a newer one. We'll look at that later. I'll put up another video of that one. But this is just a small building. It almost seems too small to be a state capitol. But I'll let you look at it with me as we kind of do a quick run through. I've edited this down some just to give you the basics. But I wanted to throw in a few facts and a few thoughts about this one while we're here. And from Wikipedia, the old state capitol state historic site in Springfield, Illinois, is the fifth capitol building built for the U.S. state of Illinois. It was built in the Greek Revival style of 1837 to 1840 and served as the state house from 1840 to 1876. It is the site of candidacy announcements by Abraham Lincoln in 1858 and Barack Obama in 2007. It was designated a National Historic Landmark in 1961 primarily for its association with Lincoln and his political rival Stephen Douglas. So yeah, that kind of gives you the basics about it, and that's a lot to think about. The whole thing with Barack Obama announcing his candidacy also, that's pretty darn impressive to me. It's such an appropriate place for him. Lots of Lincoln stuff. Oh, and by the way, we're in like a little room that has, kind of museum pieces in here. But when it comes to Lincoln, you're here in Springfield to see Lincoln stuff. And if you're driving around looking at anything Lincoln, you're going to see the old state capitol. It stands out. It is a very pretty building. Unfortunately, it seems like every time I'm here, there's some construction going on. You'll see some scaffolding on the outside when we go outside. But still, they're trying to take care of it, and it is a big and old building, and I'm sure it's just difficult to take care of. Another fact about the old capitol here is if you read up on the Donner Party, they started their expedition right here. I can't remember if they're camping out here. I think they were camping out in this exact same spot before the building was built. But yeah, this area is strongly associated also with the Donner Party. If you're interested in early pioneer struggles and how desperate that early pioneers can get, and how bad a situation can get quickly. In the days before cell phones and automobiles and things like that. Yeah, check out the Donner Party. If you're watching this video, you probably know all about the Donner Party, though. So yeah, Abraham Lincoln hung out here. His law office is actually right across the street, and they use that area now as a visitor center in Springfield. A couple of other sites associated with Lincoln are right through here too, and then his home, which is managed by the National Park Service, is maybe a few blocks away. I mean, you can definitely walk it, it's no problem. But there's just so much Abraham Lincoln history right in this area. And it's kind of Disneyland if you're into Abraham Lincoln. And of course, he's buried not too far from here. There was a school group in here on the day we were here, so I was trying to film and not get in their way. They were actually a very pleasant group, really well-behaved students who were obviously interested in what was going on, so that was cool. But I was trying not to get in their way, and I didn't want to seem like the weird guy with the camera filming kids. So anyway, yeah, we filmed around and tried to stay out of their way, but they were very nice. And one more quick Lincoln connection, because there's a ton of them. But something else about Lincoln that I wanted to read from a placard they had put up. Farewell to President Lincoln. On May 3rd and 4th, 1865, the remains of Abraham Lincoln lay here, in state, before the final funeral service at Oak Ridge Cemetery. Representatives Hall had been emptied of members' desks and chairs, Even the elaborate ensemble at the front of the room had been taken apart and removed. Watching over it all was the portrait of George Washington that stands in the room today, the only piece of furniture that remained in its accustomed place during the lying in state. Nothing could have been more appropriate. For 20 years the painting loomed over the room as Lincoln worked as a legislator, spoke against the growth of slavery, and failed in 2 attempts at election as U.S. Senator, and with friends and neighbors celebrated his election as president. In less than 24 hours, an estimated 75,000 people came to this room to pay their respects. All night long, a newspaper reported, the sound of tramping feet was heard upon the pavement. At about 10 o'clock a.m. the coffin was closed, and the beloved features were shut out from the people forever. And that gives me goosebumps. Of course, there's the big, funeral train of Lincolns that went all through the eastern part of the U.S., making its way from Washington, ultimately to here in Springfield, Illinois, where he would be buried. And later on he would be moved to another spot, but that's a story for another day. I'll talk about that later on I'll put up another video of Lincoln's tomb, because we went out there and saw that again, which is always a touching thing to do. But yeah, Lincoln, this was pretty much the last place where you could see the remains of Lincoln after he was assassinated. I've mentioned it in a couple of my other videos, but I want to mention it here real quick. I picked up a book, Young Lincoln by Jan Jacoby, and Mr. Jacoby was actually in the Lincoln Home Visitor Center signing and selling copies of his book. It's kind of a young adult, I don't know, maybe 8th grade, high school kind of book, but it's a very smart book, and it's well written, and anybody will enjoy this book. And it's kind of, it's historic fiction written from Lincoln's perspective as he's growing up, and it covers some early Illinois years. I know he's written a sequel to it that I'm going to have to pick up soon, but it's just a darn nice book, and I wanted to mention it here real quick. Well, we're outside of the old Capitol, and seeing things you see at all capitals. And again, it's like their downtown area is sort of centered around the Capitol, and it's overwhelming, and it's very attractive. They need to get some stuff out of the way there, but for the most part it's attractive, other than that scaffolding and all that I mentioned. But yeah, lots of other Lincoln stuff around here. There's a restaurant on the other, behind where we're at now, where Lincoln actually celebrated after he found out he'd won the presidency. DePiro's, I believe. And I'll put up another video about it because it's a great restaurant and I just love it. I wanted to also mention real quick here, as we're coming to the end of the video I made, just for the heck of it, I've put up some old postcard scans of old postcards I've got of the old Capitol here, just for you to check out. So yeah, here's just a brief little slideshow of some old postcards.